Good afternoon, and welcome to the In My Opinion show with host Henry Hatter and friends. Seen on the internet by way of the video YouTube. Enter in capital letters RBIMO to watch our exciting programming. Subscriptions are free. The In My Opinion show is served on Flint, Michigan, Comcast Cable Television, Channel 17 every Saturday at 6 p.m. and Wednesdays at 8:30 p.m. The In My Opinion show is also seen on Detroit, Michigan, Comcast Cable Television Network 68 every Sunday at 9 p.m. We want to welcome our worldwide viewers. We hope that you will enjoy our programming that are newsworthy, educational, political, and entertaining. If you would like to be a guest on this exciting program or have different opinions on the subject matter, please email our producer, in my opinion, rbr@att.net. Today I have a very important guest who is well known in Flint, Michigan. You can see him on the streets of Flint from time to time. He is very personable. He says hello. He says thank you. He says welcome, etc. And that is Joe Rundell, the famous sculptor of the many statues that you see along the city of Flint, Saginaw Street, of Billy Durant, David Buick, Albert Chevrolet, Charles B. Nash, etc. So now I'd like to introduce my guest, Joe Rundell. Good afternoon, Joe.
Thank you, Henry.
Welcome to the In My Opinion show.
Again, thank you.
You're back for a second time. You were excellent in the first show that we had, and we'd love to hear from you again. Please review some of the stuff that you have done in Flint to help revitalize Flint.
I've done 8 statues now. They're in bronze. There's 2 that are seen by about 500,000 people every year that go in and out of Bishop Airport. There's another 7 of them downtown. 6 of them downtown. People are now thinking that they're a bright spot in Flint and they're coming to see them.
Yes, you just did Bobby Krim. Is that the last one you just did?
I just finished Albert Champion.
Billy, the runner is downtown, right?
That's
Bobby
correct.
Krim. He is at North Bank, right?
He's at the Riverfront Hotel.
Yeah, and students from the University of Michigan and the other 4 colleges around the city can come down and visit that as a tourist attraction for them. Downtown Flint has become kind of a mecca for tourism, has it?
It has. You know, a couple days ago I was downtown and I was noticing Bobby Krim. Of course, he's standing and he's in bronze, so he's almost impregnable. And one of the students from U of M had put a U of M sweater on him. So he's become part of the U of M family.
Oh yes, that's because did he go to Michigan State?
That I couldn't say.
Oh, well, why did they have to put a U of M?
Because they wanted to brand him and they did.
Oh, okay. That's kind of stole some of the thunder from others, right? Joe, what is the difference between graphic design and sculpture?
Graphic design, that in a way is outside of my realm. That's the electronic part of the game. I work with my eyes and my hands. I create most of my things out of clay and get the concept in mind, and I start doing it in clay.
Well, you know, the last time we talked about this, you did give us some techniques in the science of building statues. But today, I'd like to ask you, if you had to name a very famous sculptor of yore, who would come to mind first?
First of all, Bernini. Some of his statues can be found in Rome. A lot of the statues are at in the Vatican. I think that he was probably the best sculptor. Period. I think that he learned from Michelangelo. He learned from Da Vinci, and then he applied his own way of doing things, and his statues, they just came out beautiful.
Are there any famous women sculptors?
At this point, I can't think of any, but it sure is an opportunity. A woman has got the same potential that a man has. They have 10 fingers, like every man has, and they've got the strength to do the situation. So yeah, I think that even though there isn't a lot of well-known ones, there will be.
But I'm aware of one that you and I both know because we've had discussions. She is somewhat of a well-known sculptor around Genesee County, right?
That's correct.
And so, but she has never reached the threshold of being world renowned.
I think her situation is that I happened to be in the right place at the right time. Back to the Bricks, those people saw me as one of them. I had a Model A car, and it fit with the Back of the Bricks theme. And the chairman of Back to the Bricks, Al Hatch, he for some reason saw some potential in me and asked me to do the first statue, which I did, and of course that also stands on the streets of Flint, and that was Louis Chevrolet.
Now, and that leads into our next segue for the next set of questions I'm going to ask you. We're going to talk about, with all of those statues that you have downtown, how do we make those statues look like the people who live here? Now, those statues are made up of automobile giants, manufacturers, and inventors. But how do we make it look like the city? Why should most of the population care about going downtown to see simply just automobile manufacturers and inventors? Because it doesn't look like the city. But how would you improve that?
What I would do is, I think it's time that we kind of coin a word and say that it's time that we cross the river, that we cross the Flint River into North Flint. The larger population of North Flint are African Americans, black men and women, and it's my concept that they should have as nice of statues in their parts of Flint as there is in the south part of Flint.
Who, for example, would you come to mind if you were just thinking out loud for naming someone that could be well represent the African American population in Flint or anywhere in the country, as far as that goes?
There are two. Flint itself, Floyd McCree comes to mind right off the bat. Others are people that were not really from Flint, but the person that I really like, of course, is Alexander Jefferson. He's a one-time red tail and flew a P-51 Mustang, a Tuskegee Airman during the war. The type of persons that America owes for where we are today. It was people like him that preserved the American way of life.
But But we want to make downtown look like the people who are associated here. Jefferson is not from here. Great man with a great legacy. But what about a person, man or a woman, who best exemplify the best in Flint, Michigan, or Genesee County? Who might that person be?
Again, I would say Floyd McCree.
Floyd McCree.
Yes.
Any other nominees?
Oh, there's many other nominees.
What about women?
Women, there's one that comes to mind is the boxing champion, Clarissa Shields.
Clarissa Shields.
Yeah, she brought gold to Flint and lifted the spirits of everybody. But I think that she's become a celebrity to the black people. She worked hard. She attained a target, and now there's a lot of young black people that would like to be like her.
Okay. Now, putting a statue up of an individual require a lot of collaboration, a lot of cooperation, a lot of support from municipalities and from business leaders. So if you had the opportunity to put a statue up, and there's been some interest of someone, particularly we're closer to a judge and a woman, but the African American is still a little bit yet nebulous, because we don't have all of the components together for that. But we know that could possibly come. But in case that you wanted to put a statue up of a judge, now I've heard Judge Wisner's name announced, abandoned about. I've heard several women, but I won't mention their names because I don't want them to, they're still alive. And so what kind of partnerships would you be seeking? What kind of support from what kind of groups would you be partnering with to put this whole idea together, to drive it to its fruition? What should be done?
You have to look to the businessmen of Flint and Genesee County for that. In fact, some outside of Genesee County. If good things happen in Flint, Genesee County is going to be impacted on a good basis. If that happens with Genesee County, the other counties that touch us will be impacted by it on a good scale. So it would uplift this whole region.
Yeah, it's interesting to see the city of Flint really working hard, even though things don't look all the time extremely optimistic right now because of its deficit. But there's a lot of movement and money being brought into the city. For example, General Motors is going to invest $600 million here within the next several years to build a new engine plant, right?
That's correct.
So that's part of the revitalization that we need. But we need more than that. We need people working together. Do you think that pulling people together through the arts can help to bring that to fruition?
Oh, definitely. It's a helping hand, and nothing happens on a good basis unless everybody's employed, black and white.
Yes. So the governor, as you know, signed into law on the 4th of January, signed into law naming I-75 the Tuskegee Airmen's National Highway from the Sioux Locks down to Toledo, 522 miles of it. What kind of economic opportunities do you think that would make for Michigan citizens, business leaders, people engaged in tourism?
Well, I think that one thing it would do, it would bring into tourism a lot more of people that have almost been differentialized. I'm not good with words, but anyway,
Disenfranchised.
yeah, disenfranchised. It would bring a statue of, let's say, one of the Tuskegee Airmen, and the person that I have in mind is one that's still alive. His name is Alexander Jefferson. I've already started the bust of him, and in fact, I've actually finished it. But it would bring in a lot of black people that would come just to show honor to that man that wouldn't come if that person had been, let's say, a white person. You know, let's face it. We need to have everybody in this thing. We need all the races and all the ethnic people to bring Michigan forward. But especially, I'm looking at Flint. I want to see Flint prosper first, because this is where I live, and I want to see things good happening in Flint.
And you're dedicated to the city of Flint. It's where you earned your living, you raised your family, etc. I'm going to go back and read from something that you stated or signed or wrote last year or the year before that. As you know, we have been trying to get the I-75 named for a number of years. All right, folks from Clio, etc., and also the Tuskegee Airmen down at Bloomfield Hills and Detroit have also been engaged in the activity, and that came to fruition, as I said before, on January 4th, in which the governor signed into law that. And you said that the naming of the 522-mile stretch of I-75 through Michigan is a fitting memorial to the Tuskegee Airmen of World War II for the heroic deeds and sacrifices they made during World War II, and have since become one of the most celebrated military fighter groups of World War II. While they were overlooked by name, as Tom Brokaw of NBC some years ago dubbed the men and women of World War II as America's greatest generation. You recall that?
I do.
The Tuskegee Airmen were not named in that, but probably it may not have been due to spite or anything. It wasn't thought of. The Tuskegee Airmen are also members for serving in the worst of times and the best of times, as Charles Dickens might have said in his praise had he survived today. These men earned their wings as they soared their red tails into battle. They taught a thing or two about courage, about dedication and free will, as if they were Greek gods, descending down upon the enemy to protect the home front from the enemy, so that this generation might live another day in a free and democratic society. Despite enduring tremendous pressures from a perception of inferiority in the eyes of fellow officers, they endured isolation and rejection and proved themselves in a time of unparalleled racism and bigotry that they were second best to no one. And yet, the most amazing thing, as we say, and I heard, about the Tuskegee Airmen, that few soldiers could live up to going through the rest of their lives with minimal signs of acrimony on the outside. Explain that.
That's a testimony to great people. They have been used badly by the white population for a couple hundred years. They were downtrodden. They've risen I think at a regular basis. They have gained a little bit every year, to the point where now they're living lives unprecedented from before. They've got good jobs. They're honorable, and they're a great part of our society. And without them, I think that America would be much worse off than they are right now. But these people, they need to still come forward. They still deserve more, and if they're employed, making a good living, everybody will benefit from that. They don't have to be of dark skin. They can be the white person will also benefit from those people having good jobs and being able to spend their money.
Yes, and Joe, we're going back to focus in on why we're sitting down and having this discussion right now. We know that the governor has signed into law naming I-75 the Tuskegee Airmen's Memorial Highway. That should spearhead tremendous economic activity.
I agree with you.
For all businessmen along this 522-mile structure of I-75. There should be people, and it is more favorable to the people who look like Tuskegee Airmen, but they must step forward. But and I'm sure that there are people who will become engaged who are not Tuskegee Airmen, and they're not African American. But that opportunity there to engage in new economic activity will be very beneficial to the economy of Michigan, because the travel industry has an endless source of clients. 360 days a year, 24 hours a day. And I see it as an excellent opportunity for the traveling public to stop by a tourist stop that sells commodities or relics of the Tuskegee Airmen, or clothing, or eye gear, or suits, or whatever. There's a tremendous amount of opportunities for those who are willing, who have the investment dollars, and who have thought about this to become engaged. What do you think we should do next?
Well, I think it's time that we put up the statue of at least one of the Tuskegee Airmen. The sooner that it's done, the sooner that this economic or these economic things will happen.
Well, there's something that I think that should precede that, and that is we need to get the signs up.
I agree with you.
And for those folks in communities who are interested in having a sign within their communities, I don't think it requires any authorization from municipalities, because it will be on a national highway. Unless they decide to take it off of the national highway, then you have to apply for permits and so on to put these signs up. And they will tell you how far and where and what color, etc. But the ones that's going to be put up along I-75 are going to be brown and green. And I'm not exactly sure. The DOT is going to get back with me next week and let me know what signs are possible for us to put up on I-75. And what I would like to do, since the folks in Clio have been so much an instrument of getting this done, and probably without the effort in Clio, and as I told you, you know that Clio, about 2010, did name one day a year after the Tuskegee Airmen. And that's April the 15th of each year, from now till the memorial. It is a day to be celebrated in recognition and remembrance of the Tuskegee Airmen and the jobs that they did for the country. And each year we celebrate that in Clio. It's a little known thing. And that's why I already have the money in Clio to put up at least one sign. And I would like to have that sign put up before they do it anywhere else along I-75, because that would be significant. And it should be, because that's where it was started. This whole effort was started. And we worked it all the way through the governor's office. And then the next thing, I hope that you will be there when we put our sign up. I know you will. And I'm going to ask many people who hear this show, if you live anywhere in the area, when we post that sign up, I hope that you will come out and observe. It cannot be on the highway itself, because that's forbidden property. You might get a bumper on your leg if you're out there on the freeway, and they're not going to permit that. So we'll have to do it off-site. But it should make a great event and bring in a lot of new engagement. Then the next thing, Joe, that we need to do, I believe, is that statue. Where do you want to go with that? How do we begin to generate the money that's needed to put that statue up? Now, here are a lot of people. How would you appeal to the people who are listening to this audience right now?
Well, first of all, again, we're going to be going to the business community for one, but it isn't going to be them alone. I think that individuals can also contribute to the statue, and it needs to happen. I think the sooner that we get this thing rolling, the better. It's like somebody needing an operation on a knee or something like that, and they decide to wait until they're 85 years old, and they only live to be 86. And they're 65 now. I think it's time that they had the knee worked on, and so they can have it over a lot of years. So I think the sooner that we get this statue up, the quicker that the signage starts along I-75, and the sooner that...
Joe, do we need a place? Can we appeal to people to just send in pledges for that? We got to have an address. Do you want to give your address, or do you want to give them my address?
Why don't you give them your address?
Okay. Those who would like to just pledge to the statute of the Tuskegee Airmen, please send your pledges, not money, just pledges with your name, address, telephone number, etc. to Henry Hatter, Hatter, 1238 East Farron Road, Clio, Michigan, 48420. Joe, it's been a great show. I hope that we get great responses from this. I know that it's been a great job that you've done today, and we'll begin doing this again. We'll continue to talk about it. I wanted to say something about the number of kids from around the world who were at your home. Now, we got to sign out, Joe. Time comes to an end. This is the In My Opinion show. Until next time, stay focused.